Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex, and today we're going to be taking a look at Endling Extinction Is Forever on the Nintendo Switch, a survival adventure with an animal spin, but can it deliver on the premise? Well, that is what I'm here to find out, so hit subscribe, join us here at SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and let's get started. So here you'll be taking on the role of a mother fox, the last of her kind, and shortly into the opening you give birth to 4 cubs. The game asks you to choose their luck from a variety of fur colours, and that is incredibly smart design because it adds to the connection you will feel to them. Early game though, things I'd call them relatively okay. Yeah, sure, danger is around, but things they definitely take a turn for the worst. That is, basically a character by the name of the Scavenger appears and takes one of your cubs. Now the adventure begins. Can you find your missing cub while keeping the rest alive? It's emotionally charged throughout, but incredibly well delivered, mainly because it provides commentary on the environment, how we treat our home, the animals surrounding us, but also the evil that can be humankind. At the same time though, and this is important, it also never forgets that there can be good, and it presents these 3-dimensional characters with backstory and even reasoning to a certain extent, even if you may not agree with it. We make tough choices as the fox, as do all of the characters in this world, and they're not always going to be the right ones. We'll also then uncover the story behind the Scavenger as well, and it's definitely dark stuff, but it is handled perfectly. Gameplay then, and I've seen the term survival thrown around in relation to Endling. I did it myself at the opening, and that is absolutely true. However, it is not a straightforward survival experience. It is narrative driven, and there's no endless mode packed in. It's the story mode or nothing, and I wrapped it up in around 6 hours. So what about it is survival then? And well, first off, it features permadeath, and unfortunately that can be your cubs. If you were to die, however, the game loads back to that last checkpoint. There's no game wipes or anything of the sort in here. It's a mechanic, but it is simplified in comparison to many of the genre entries out there. Losing one of those cubs as well, incredibly impactful, and no doubt you will be tempted like me to quit and reload into the game. I actually lost one moments before the credits rolled, which left me somewhat stunned. The narrative though, it was moving so fast at this moment, and I completely forgot about what is my hunger meter. Presented in a 2D fashion with 3D visuals though, it's presenting a relatively large map with intertwining pathways, meaning you can change direction and navigate easily. You'll also find the map is accessible with a minus button, and many of the pathways they will be locked initially. You'll be completing almost tasks to unlock these new locations. So I mentioned the hunger meter. That is the only health meter in this one. It will provide the majority of the experience, basically think a whole lot of scavenging. This can be fruit and vegetables which you can gain from locations around the world, or by simply acting as the predator and hunting other wildlife around you. There's no thirst for any of the foxes. You can somewhat get injured. It mostly occurs to the mother fox. Occasionally though, other predators, they may attack your cubs. You do have an ability however to sniff out things like food sources, and the game has a handy green icon indicator, and that's basically signifying to you there is something in the vicinity. Same thing goes for, let's say, someone that wants to injure you. That will show as red. It's basically not out to be punishingly difficult, but it is out to show the desperate situation you find yourself in. The injuries though, these can be everything from predators in the world attacking you, that could be human or other wildlife. There's often traps set in this world to get you as well. Most injuries you can walk or sleep off, but should you cross paths with the Scavenger, here we actually see one-hit kills. The way to play in these moments, they are stealth, basically avoid getting yourself into the light at the end of his gun. I wouldn't call it the best mechanic in the game, but it definitely works. So yeah, then this world around you, it's going to gradually evolve. Resources, they definitely become more and more scarce, and the destruction, it's definitely clear the impact it's having as locations are abused. The game works on a day and night cycle, though, as you sleep, and that's where really that hunger comes in. With each new day, new tasks will present themselves. Many are optional, but you will at least need to complete some to push the story forwards. Think here, teaching your cubs specific abilities like climbing and jumping just like their mother. Maybe you'll have to hide to attack bigger wildlife and eat like royalty that day. Maybe you'll face one of the many humans who want to take you down. It just gets so much right. There was no two things are the same. You know, dig for food, and sometimes you might end up with a plastic bag over your head as you butter mash to escape. Now granted, by the end game I will say these offenses became a little repetitive, but they still held at least their impacts. Other moments though as well, like I said, you might meet the good people of this world who will offer you food and comfort. It never leans so far into look how much we've screwed this world up that we cannot trust anyone, and that's often more tense as you're unsure how a scenario will play out. It's nearly basically always dark in its themes, which makes those few more, let's say, humane moments so much more enjoyable. Every few days then, not only will the world change around you slightly, presenting more, let's say, dire circumstances, but we will catch the scent of our missing cub. In these moments, we locate items left from the scavenger, and we will gradually piece together what the scavenger did, where they are, and basically their backstory at the same time. This presents the main narrative of the game, and it had me intrigued from beginning to end, and it did it all without saying a single word. Along this journey then, you'll be using a number of skills, but all easy enough to use. You can move, sprint, climb, dig and carry, whether that's food or perhaps a cub that's, let's say, hungry or injured. Then you can, as I said, sniff for food, you can sneak, and you can interact with a number of items as well. Battles here, they are single button inputs, as are moments of think escaping traps. It's more a case of navigating to safety, and that will be your den where basically the save games occur. Problems, the gameplay loop is fine, but it's never really evolving. It's more about watching the characters evolve around you. Towards the end game, there's some minor frame rate stutters, though they never impacted the experience for me personally. And finally, the load screens. Basically, when you enter and exit your den, they can be a little on the long side, so just take that as a warning. I'd say 30 seconds at a time, and they are somewhat back to back outside of what is a screen where you can check progress, meaning how far into the narrative are you, but also at the same time, how are your cubs coming along. Definitely somewhat here impacted the immersion. Overall though, I'm really impressed with the gameplay. It's involved enough to keep you engaged, and it keeps the powerful narrative at the forefront. Graphically then, it's a stunning looking game. It's almost presented in a cel-shaded style, and I have a dog and I couldn't help but see the similarities in movement. Just I love the animations throughout, the walk, the limping, the digging. These, characters, whether it's a human or the wolves, they have no spoken dialogue, but they pack more personality than many video game characters out there. That's particularly true of the cubs, who each have, slight variance in their personalities. The world then, as I said, it evolves. We will see smaller moments of sunshine and brightness, but then we see the darkness as well, the destruction, the pollution, and a huge cast of characters and wildlife. The badgers are my personal favourite, and they actually eventually even open up fast travel. Enemies though are particularly threatening too. They don these gas masks with a cartoonish look that definitely exaggerates their intentions. Problems, the game suffers from popping at moments as you move, especially in moments of sprinting, but I will say you'd have to be looking to the edge of the screen for the most part to notice it. Overall though, I think it looks good, and yeah, it especially looks good in handheld as well. Audio finally, and no voice acting, but a stunning soundtrack, mainly acoustic with a hint of orchestral, but it's really well done, and I'll be buying this on vinyl if it receives a standalone release. Then they've done a really good job of building up this world with environmental audio, so it never sounds empty, and you can often hear the impact from location to location. Maybe that's the destruction that's taking place, or there's a, let's say, somewhat empty sounding barren location. So the final verdict, and Endling is great stuff. It's a beautiful world that tackles challenging themes and does it in a way that's not heavy-handed. It's in the moments of destruction where we get to witness that small remaining piece of good, which, as I said, becomes so much more powerful. The animals are stunning though, the story well implemented, and it's absolutely for many going to be a tearjerker. It can be incredibly impactful with its story, and I absolutely suggest you check it out. Now look, sure, it lacks replayability, it can even get repetitive in the gameplay from moment to moment, even has those overlong, load screens, but that really can't hold back my opinion of this one. It's just incredibly well handled delivery. A great 8 out of 10 from me today, and the team, they should be absolutely proud of this one. Will you be adding this one to the library then, or holding onto that cache? Let me know in the comments down below. With that then, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe, join us here on SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.